Welcome everybody to another episode of Lost Like Mike. I think we're in the 40s now. So we're in the 40s. I think I'm going to start the new season after 52 weeks, which would be like 1 year of doing this show. I can't even believe that we're almost coming up on a year of doing the show. I'll think about that when the time comes. But anyway, I know we're in the 40s. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hanging out, messaging me, lostlikeMike@gmail.com. A lot of updates to do this week. We'll jump right in. First and foremost, I think it was a rough day yesterday. Anybody who has been following the past couple episodes, or if you heard an episode or two in recent past, you've known that our family hamster, Nut, has been lethargic, a little bit under the weather, and turns out very, very old for a hamster. And yesterday, Nut passed away. Which, I mean, opened up a ton of different sore subjects with my daughter. It's difficult because it's hard to talk about mortality and things of that nature in a sort of blanketing sense with children, because parents, people don't have it all figured out, and you want to tell them something definitive. You want to be like, comforting, and yet, but I mean, because in my heart, I feel like I want to rationalize it or say something that gives it some sort of spiritual context, like that the essence of what made that hamster, is moving on in some way, shape, or fashion. My wife was getting in the weeds a little bit, talking about hamster balls in heaven and rolling around and having all the treats that it would want. And I think, in a certain sense, that's okay to say, because for all I know, but, and also she's 8 years old, so I'm not going to sit down and like have a philosophical debate about, these things. But I do want to offer comfort and solace, or some kind of, but we took her him out front. Okay, so here's where the confusion comes. If you ever heard me talk about Nut, it turns out it's not my fault, okay? Because it turns out we have this thing where we do like this boys versus girls thing here in this household, right? Where my wife and daughter, and we have a female dog, Willow, and so they say it's like it's boys versus girls, and I guess it's me versus the world in this household. So at some point in the life of my hamster, they decided that they were going to pretend that Nut was a female. And I was certain that Nut was a boy, but after 2.5 years of kind of them playing around with pronouns and sort of going back and forth on what Nut was, I got and just confused. So if any of the listeners at all noticed that I was having a hard time, I kept saying Nut. Like every time I would want to talk about Nut, I'd say, well, Nut does this, and sometimes Nut likes to roll around on a ball, but not, you know what I mean? I couldn't just say, well, he enjoys treats or whatever, because I didn't know. And how does that make me look if I'm all talking all sentimental about this hamster and I don't even know if it's a boy or girl hamster? I'm just like this thing that I keep in the cage. When it wasn't like that, it was that I was being, confused by my wife, because we were out to lunch today after church, and I was trying to say, because my daughter, when first found out, I had to be like, okay, so there's some stereotypical assumed male jobs that still exist, and one is getting the dead hamster out of the cage, the hamster that passed, and respectively putting it into a box so that we could bury it. My wife was like, I don't really feel like getting the thing, so, quote unquote, man up and go do it, but not saying that, but in a way, just kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, do it, because I don't want to do it. But when she first found out, my daughter was obviously upset. She was saying how she wanted, she didn't want not to die yesterday. She would want to have done all these different things and not die, well, she would never want it to die, but obviously never want him to die. And we were talking about, so today we were at church, and, well, I'll back it up. Okay, so we woke up in the morning and she's like, man, I miss Nut Nut. This is the first thing she said. She actually came and said it right, like that was the way I woke up. I said, it's good to miss Nut Nut. It means that Nut Nut mattered to you. That means that that's a good thing. That, that something can have that significance, that when you're without it, it impacts you. And then we go about a bit of the day, and then we go to church, and she says again, man, I miss Nut Nut. I said, you know what's good? Let's remember some fun things about Nut Nut. I always said how much I loved the way that when you would give Nut Nut a treat, he wouldn't eat it right away. He would stuff it in his cheek and like come up to the cage and be like, you didn't give me anything. Like, I know you thought you gave me a treat, but look at my hands, I got nothing. And then you give him another treat and he'd stuff it in the other side of his mouth. I always got a kick out of that. And Nut Nut did all these other funny things, like, but the point being that we were reminiscing about Nut Nut, and my wife says, and you know how we used to pretend that Nut Nut was a girl so that Nut Nut could be on the all-girls team? And I said, what are you talking about? Like, and then it all made sense. All the times that I would hear my wife say, Nut Nut, la la la, and she wants this, and Nut Nut should get some food because she deserves it, or all this kind of stuff. And me thinking to myself, oh, I must be dumb because I thought the hamster was a boy and she's a girl. That's where that came from. Anyway, I was just thinking about that right now, about Nut Nut. We buried her in the front yard. My daughter's adorable as far as dealing with that. She had some colorful rocks and items that were in our garden, and we buried her in the front yard garden. We built this circle garden, in part. We haven't talked to my daughter about this, but when my wife and I, early on in our marriage, we lost a baby, and so we designed this circle garden in the front yard of the house that we live in. We put a cross and some vine and different flowers and things, and sort of in remembrance of the baby that we were going to have. And so in that same garden, we buried Nut Nut, and they wanted to bury the home of the hamster, which is this big, like dome-looking, igloo-looking plastic blue thing, and it's kind of giant. And I said, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, maybe we could use it as a headstone or something. I don't know. But we ended up digging a deep hole, and I put the box in, and she's so cute. She kissed the box, and we put some of Nutnut's bedding into the box that she liked a lot. That he liked a lot. So and then put his house on top of the box, and I buried the whole lot. And she put her special painted rocks and items from the other garden. She moved them on top of it, and we said kind words and things, and then I remember, well, she said, because I said I'm gonna put some of the bedding that Nut likes a lot, because that's like he would like that to rest in that. And then she went and got like some of Nut's favorite treats and put them in the box, and around. It was very sweet, but and I know it's relative. It's like it's a rodent, and in some senses, like in some situations, like not so far distant family members of that of rodents are are killed in because of obvious sanitation reasons. You know what I mean? Like, but it's hard when you choose to bring them into your house and keep them, and develop, like, introduce yourself to their idiosyncrasies and see what makes them tick, like makes them special. Anyway, but she's dealing with the loss in a good way, and I'm happy about that she's being introduced to that. I think I'm gonna get another dog soon, so that all things will be right in the world. So there's that update, guys. Today is day 9 of shows. We spoke last week of having started the set of celebratory shows, of fiesta shows of the week. Here where I come from, they do these fiesta San Antonio shows, and I had 11 shows. When I say 11, they ranged from 4-hour shows and 5-hour shows and a 2-hour show. And I'm talking, you can still hear that I have a voice somewhat, which is in itself an achievement. I'm pretty stoked about that. I've really tried to concentrate on taking care of myself and not settling for anything less than at least a reasonable amount of rest, getting some sleep. So a little recap on these shows. We did a 4-night stint at this night in old San Antonio. It's called Niosa, this show downtown, where you play for 5 hours in downtown San Antonio. I was helping out my cousin's band, and so I would work in the morning. I would get off an hour early, and I would run to downtown, park and walk about a half a mile, and then perform for 5 hours, and then get home like at 11:30 midnight and rinse and repeat. I'd go to bed for 5 hours. I did that from Tuesday to Friday. And on Thursday, I did double shows. So I went to work. I went to my show. I played from about half the show, from 5:30 to 8:15, and then crossed back half a mile, and then played from 9 to 1. So that day I sang, 4, 5, 6, like 7 hours of performing, singing, and whatnot. And that was on Thursday. And then Friday, I took off of work and I did 2 shows. one 4-hour show during the day, and then the 5-hour show at night. I mean, you get in the picture, right? I mean, I'm singing a lot. I'm performing heavily, like, and I think it was right away my body by Wednesday was telling me the 5-hour shows of sort of dancing around, playing this music was going to take a toll on my body. A lot of movement, because it's a variation of different styles of music, but everything's very rhythmic, and you're moving your body, and it was kind of like a plywood stage, so your feet and legs are always doing this like balancing act on the wood, because you sort of have to be mindful of the dips and the give in the wood, and your mic stand's moving, so you're kind of like trying to not knock anything over. Plus it's a smaller stage, so you're avoiding bumping into people, and it was just a lot. It was a lot of work. And then, having to sing harder because the varying sound system, it just, we're running it ourselves. We had a sound person, and it was a lot of work, and it was very difficult. And every day I was thinking, you know what, today's going to be the day that I'm going to just not have a voice anymore. Like, I'm going to open my mouth to sing. And I can tell you, by Friday, it accumulated. By Friday, I have a couple of numbers that I sing even though I'm helping this other band out. I do a couple of songs because he sings songs in English and Spanish, and I sing some English songs and sing backup for his Spanish stuff. No, I don't speak Spanish fluently. Thank you for asking. I do sing it the way that Justin Bieber or Ariana Grande would sing a Spanish song. You get through it, you fake it, and then when the reporters ask you a question in Spanish, you just nod and point at the interpreter. No, I was laughing with some of my friends at my day job because they've heard me attempt to speak Spanish, and when they found out that I was singing in Spanish, they thought that was just the funniest thing ever. But fear not, I was singing backup, so I just enunciated best I could. And half the time I don't know what I'm singing. I could be saying that my jeans are purple with polka dots, and I'd be like, just whatever. I wouldn't know the difference. But yeah, so on Friday, I could hear it in my voice. Like, not so much like I hit the notes and I did what I had to do, but there were some points where I'd crack a little bit, in spots. Luckily, not in sort of Peter Brady embarrassing ways on the mic, but having to force it through some notes and stuff. I think you shouldn't talk about it, because the more I talk about it, the more I feel like my voice is drying out. But when I say like self-care, I did things like gargled salt water, drank a ton of fluids, that kind of stuff. I mean, just conscious steps taken where normally in the past I would have just willed it to happen. Like, as long as I just concentrate real hard, rely on luck or what have you to get me through any sort of ordeal. Like, there's so much superstition that is involved with ignorant singers like myself in the past, where you just like not have any formal training, so you're just like, well, I guess I'll just eat. Whenever I ate that hamburger that one time, I sang well, so I'm just gonna make sure that I eat a hamburger every time I sing. That kind of mentality, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that's a legitimate step that I took in the past, I wouldn't say it wasn't. But I do have some superstitions involving Jack Daniels and a scratchy throat. But I digress. Point being that by Friday night, I felt like I was losing my voice just a little bit. And of course, this was all supposed to culminate into a big show Saturday night. 2 hours rock and roll show of still covers, but I mean, just closer to my neck of the woods of what I'm, I was getting to play with my cousins, my other cousins, which we used to be in a group together for several years. And so that was exciting. And they're great musicians. I don't play with them only because they're my cousins. I play with them because they're some of the most talented musicians in our area. But definitely the fear was there that here I come into the Saturday show, and I'm playing 7 shows prior to that show. Is that right? 7, 8, 8 shows prior to that show. So fast forward to the day I wake up on Saturday. We didn't have a daytime show Saturday, thank God. But my legs, my body, my lower back, all just broken, not wanting to, just hurting from head to toe, hurting, voice tired, and just me thinking, oh, well, there you go. Like, can't have it easy. Like, that's like a running theme for a lot of the things that I do. It just can't be simple. But I ended up, it's going to sound stupid, but I ended up going to a theme park, well, a sort of theme park, because on a side note, because of the dynamic of the week, I had not seen my daughter all week or hang out with my wife. Every waking moment was either going to work or show, and I had to carry my clothes with me. So, and then in the mornings, they were letting me sleep until the very last second so that I could get as much rest as possible, hop up, shower, and get ready for work, and then repeat again. So I didn't get to see my daughter all week, or my wife. So coming up on Saturday, my daughter had fallen asleep on Friday crying to my wife about how, they were talking about dads and all this kind of thing, and her friends at school. And anyway, I felt really guilty. I felt really bad. And even though I was all beat up and whatever, I was like, look, I'll surprise her and I'll go with her to the theme park, which is a special needs theme park here in San Antonio called Morgan's Wonderland. It's heavy on the walking and they have different activities and whatnot, but it's mainly just a presence thing, being there and walking around. And believe me, I was trash. I was trash. I went on I got on the different rides with her. We walked the whole place. And every now and then I would sit down and be like, just beat up. I didn't realize how beat up I was until I was trying to power through some of these things. But it's strange where that reserve comes from. But we were leaving there, and they were like, they were saying how they wanted to go get, we were going to stop for lunch, and then they were going to go get ice cream and some things. And I said, look, I'll go to lunch, but then just drop me, please, at the house, because I need to rest. I just need rest. And it's funny on the way home, because I'm a walking contradiction. When we were driving home, there was a garage sale, and I have a very nice bike that I got at a garage sale, but I'm driving home and I see it, and she said, we'll drive by that garage sale. And then I bought another bike, and I had to ride it home like 2 blocks. So my body's all trash, and I know it. I just went to a theme park, walked another mile or 2 according to the steps, and then even though my body was trash, I bought a bike and rode it 2 blocks home. Just makes no sense, people. I can't tell you that I have a plan. But and this isn't even the worst of it yet. We're just getting started with my silliness. So, but to our credit, we came home. I laid down for an hour or 2, slept, rested, drank some fluids. And I was holding off on going downtown. I was going to go early, but I didn't want to go, too early because I wanted to spend time with my wife and daughter when they got back from the ice cream and things. But I head out to the show, and I should have known something was wrong when I was coming up to the highway change, and I see my exit, and there's traffic, a line all the way on of standstill traffic going towards the exit that I'm supposed to take. I'm thinking, so I said, well, you know what? I'm just going to go 2 exits down. I'm going to try to approach it from the other side. Let's see what we can do. I would put in the parking garage address on my phone. My phone says, no problem, 15 minutes, let's go. I follow the instructions, take a left, take a right, take a right, take a left. And then what do I see? Road closure for the parade. There was a big night parade going on that was going to end at the stage we're playing at to close out that area. And I had heard rumblings about how it was very busy down there, what have you. But, okay. So I said, GPS, you got to know these things. Come on. Like, don't send me on these. And so, road closed, alternate route. It says, no problem, 16 minutes, you're back in it. But when I tried to follow that route, you have to sit in traffic for a little bit because it developed. It was like where it comes from. And needless to say, for over an hour, I'm trying to get closer to where I'm at for 2 hours, unable to find parking. Where I'm supposed to start performing, it's going to be from 9:45 to 11:45, 9, 10, 10, 11, yeah. 9:45 to 10 to 11:45. And it's already past 8 o'clock. I had left like 6 something. So it was torture. Sitting in traffic, people doing things for getting ready for the parades, whatever. And I just had no grasp. I had no idea what I was thinking, like that I was going to park somewhere. My thoughts were that I was going to park like a 20-minute, like maybe a 15, 20-minute walk away from where we were performing at. But in my mind, it was far away from the parade. It was far away from everything. But what I did not grasp was that the routes to get to that parking garage were going to be surrounded by the new parade route. So inevitably, I ended up having to park 2 miles away from my show underneath the highway. I didn't even think how far I was from the show. I just found an open parking area. I parked, and then I mapped it on my phone to walk to the show. And it was 2 miles. But by that point, it said it was going to take 40 minutes to walk there, and it was like 8:40. 8:30, 8:40. So I was going to get there like at 9:20, 9:30, and then I perform at 9:45. I had no choice. I had to just move and just do it. So I got this denim jacket on thinking I'm cool because I wanted to be cool. You know, I mean, I want to wear something nice for the show, right? And I have a full gallon of water in my backpack. And so I have a backpack and I'm toting this gallon of water and my odds and ends in this big black backpack. And I'm trying to jog in like 30-second intervals when I can to cut some of the time off as I'm heading towards. And I'm thinking, because I'm walking, there won't be road closures that'll hold me back. I think I'm smart, right? And then I start hearing those and then the clapping and the cheers and those bullhorns or whatever that I was trying to mimic. I was gonna have to hit the parade. So I'm jogging and walking, and then it's nighttime, and I get there to the street, and there's people blocking the street in chairs and whatnots. And I'm trying to walk around these. Pardon me, trying to get around these people on these chairs. And then there's a marching band walking through the street. And I'm thinking, no, dude, I can't sit here and watch this parade. So I have to cross the parade. And then I'm back running for more. And the parade ends where we were playing. So I had to cross again. But that time it was just like people in chairs, and you know, I guess it hadn't gotten there, or like there was just like occasional police people, whatever, clearing different things. It was very strange though. So I ran, walked, jogged for 2 miles, and not even thinking I had already walked 2 miles during the daytime at the theme park, and my body was trash when I woke up. And I get there. And if you ever have like all this pent up stress, that type of anxiety, it presents itself in a weird way, because so you're freaking out in your mind, and you're in gotta do it mode, thinking, I gotta perform. I'm gonna miss the show. I can't miss the show. I can't be late. We need to start on time. So you have all this built up from when you're driving and you're hitting this roadblock and this roadblock and this traffic and that traffic. And am I gonna find a spot? Am I ever gonna find a parking spot? When I finally found the parking area, they had this weird way of doing it where you had to text this information, and it would give you this website, and then you go to the website and it asks for all this, you know what I mean? So by the time I run and get up the stairs to where we're performing at, I put all my stuff down. They said, all right, you got 20 minutes and we're going to start. And I'm looking, it's crowded. It's this street. We're in this downtown square where there's these shops, and there's this big area in front of the stage, and it's packed with people. And there's a train of people going back and forth behind the crowd that's in front of the stage. I mean, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people just cramming and going back and forth the whole time. And I'm having like almost a panic attack, but I'm not nervous about singing. I just have all this nervous energy that I haven't been able to get rid of because I just got there. And I had to really center myself and be like, look, man, it's like, you're here. Like, let that go. Like, just let's go up and sing songs, and it's going to be all right. So then all that culmination of all that activity and my body being in the state that it was in, here comes, now I have to perform for 2 hours and sing for 2 hours. And it's really quite an experience. I mean, I enjoyed the music. I think that we did a tremendous job. I think it was great. In the second hour, I started to lose my voice. But we decided to do a version of, with a little help from my friends. And my voice was raspy and it was trash, but it was perfect for that moment. And I felt very emotional because I literally was going to need the help of the audience. I was going to need the help of the bandmates to get me through the show, to get me through the ending of the show. It was very, in my own mind, it was very powerful. For me, it was very powerful. So therefore it was powerful for me. And it was that exhilaration of sense of accomplishment, of it being done, of having made it through with one respect or another. And the crowd was really into it. They were cool. But that, that can't matter in reality. But I had a lot of people, like, I was walking, they were they were cool enough to give me a ride back to my car, and there were people that recognized me, like, on the other side of the place, and were like, "Hey, you're the guy, you were the singer," and said some nice things, and it made me feel really seen in that moment with compliments and things. It was the overall, it was very positive experience. And then, but I will admit, I woke up today. Today's Sunday. I have one more show today from the last in the line of the stint of shows. And I woke up today and my body's just crazy pain. Just pain. My knees, my lower back. Which brings me to my next topic. It's so silly. The 5K is this Saturday coming up. Oh man, I have no business. But I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm figuring it's probably going to be like, I'm counting on adrenaline to get me through. When I was doing I had my watch on, it ran out of juice. I didn't charge it last night, but when I was wearing it, by the end of the night, it said it was 4 miles, in steps. I guess the 2-hour show was like running around, jumping around, was another 2 miles. But when I was almost hitting the 2-mile mark on the walk and jog, I think I've been doing it for like 30 minutes. And a 5K is like 3 miles, 3.1. So I'm thinking it took me 30 minutes to do 2 miles. I just have to not walk as much. I have to jog more. And I'll be fine. I mean, I'm not trying to break any records. I'm just trying to have a respectable finish. But yeah, I don't have any idea what that's going to look like. I'm just going to try to, it brings to mind, like, I don't know a lot about like recovery, like taking ice baths or supplements, vitamins, electrolytes, drinks, all this, you hear people talking about doing these different things. I've never been very good at self-care in terms of that, but I definitely need to figure that stuff out, because that's rough, man. Can you imagine? I mean, if I had any resources, I'd love to document that that experience, because it's so, I mean, talk about a train wreck that you see coming. It's going to be very entertaining to see me trying to do this, because I'm going to be in front of people that I work with, not directly, but in the same company. So they're going to be, there's a bit of judgment because the company gets points for winners and doesn't get as many points or at all for losers, or for people that, you know, are like totally not fit and have no business being there, like myself. But yeah, I'd love to have like some sort of documentation, like to do like have somebody follow me around and say, oh, look, he's limping, or did he just sit down in the middle of the, yeah, he sure did. I mean, just, I don't know. It just seems like there's going to be some drama. But luckily we don't have a daytime, we don't have a show that day. So my plan is to run and then be worthless for the next 24 hours post that. It's a plan. All right. Anyway, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about, and then we'll call it a day. And it's just a food for thought, or something that came to mind because of so we're playing downtown at this at during the daytime show on Friday with my cousin's band that plays a variety of music. And the topic that's on my mind, or in that situation that was bothering me, is the difference between people that are under an influence or people that are suffering from mental illness. It's two very different things, but sometimes they overlap and sometimes it's hard to see because it's muddled by the combination or what have you. Sometimes it's mental illness that is exacerbated or even in some cases manifested through the use of hallucinogens or different drugs, psychotropics, whatever, that causes them to just have a break, a psychotic break. But in a civilized society, it's I sound like I'm serious, but I'm just really trying to get this out. In a civilized society, this is what went down. I'm performing on stage, and there's a big dance area, and we're trying to encourage people to dance and what have you. And this younger man starts sort of walking out in a sort of kind of like posturing sort of way of walking out into the center of the dance floor, which is not out of the ordinary. Sometimes people come out in that sort of fashion to like begin their dance routine. So all power to him. But then he starts doing these sort of fighting motions with his hands, like he's boxing nobody, right? And then he starts doing these sort of, all he needs is some glow sticks sort of hand movements, because, and mind you, you may be picturing what music is playing at this moment that would elicit that type of dance moves. But I assure you that the music that was being played was the polar opposite of whatever he was doing. He seemed like he was either A, in a mosh pit, or B, at a rave. And he was at sea neither. But yet, it's fine. Express yourself, child. Do what you got to do. For all I care. But then he goes back to the side and he gets some ice cubes and he starts throwing them, right? Well, now he's affecting the people around him, right? And he starts doing his dance things, whatever. Throws ice on the floor, whatever. Then he goes back to the side and he gets a funnel cake. And he starts tearing off pieces of funnel cake and throwing it towards people, right? And then he gets the funnel cake and he starts rubbing it on his arms and his face, just smashing cake on his face and his hair. And then going, and he's doing this 2 feet away from children and doing these fighting moves and whatever. Just an obstruction, like just. And so fewer and fewer people were dancing. People are just moving away and going back, to the crowd around the dance area. And something was very infuriating to me. Now, look, here's where my dilemma came from, is if somebody is suffering from some sort of, mental illness, right? And it's manifesting in sort of these outbursts, and his, relationship with reality is questionable, then I still feel for him. And I would love for that person to receive help. What this felt like was he was like on meth or something else. He seemed like he was just whacked by his own choices. Do you see what I'm saying? And in that sense, all I wanted was what inevitably happened, which was the police came and took him. Because really, I don't want people to suffer. I don't want people to do things, but that's their choice. You know what I mean? Like, believe me, I made some bad choices, and I've suffered for them. But when I make other people suffer, that's when I feel the worst. And so, but yeah, where do you draw the line, right? Like, oh, it's cool, man. Do your fight emotions, and you paid for that funnel cake. You want to rub it on your face? We do have littering laws, so if you wouldn't litter the pieces and throw your funnel cake at children, I appreciate that. You want to rub it on your arms and smell like powdered sugar, more power to you. I guess, what are we supposed to say? And then there's a little kid and he's doing these dances. I'm like, oh, cute. And then I notice he has $1 bills rolled up in his fingers like he's dancing at a strip club. Like, what are you doing, kid? And so he would do like a dumb move and then like a ta-da, and then he would put his hand out for people to give him money. Just little mini hustlers out there. Just the things you see, that's all, I guess. Anyway. You ever find yourself at I was on stage at the venue we perform at. Sometimes we're inside, sometimes outside, but when we're inside, we're on the stage with like a lighting rig that's above us. And I was staring at this light, kind of like the way I stare at these lights for the show. And then I'll go in and out of different scenarios that feel the same, that have that same feel to it. I know that sounds vague, but like I was on stage and I'm looking at the spotlight and it's shining kind of like in my eyes. And then I'm just like smash cut in my mind, and I'm like laying in the dentist chair looking at the big light fixture that they hang in front of you when they're about to get to work on you. And then I'm laying in a hospital bed looking at fluorescent lights, and I was thinking of these people, friends and family that are in the hospital right now. And then I'm here in front of my camera with the lighting, and then I'm at a street light waiting for the light to turn green, and then I'm back on stage looking at a spotlight. Does that ever happen to y'all? I don't know why I thought of that, but been meaning to ask. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. I am Mike from Lost Like Mike. If you would message me, comment, you can, of course, feel free to do that. The most direct line is to just message me at lostlikemike@gmail.com. Message me about topics you want to talk about or questions you may have, or if you want to come on the show and hang out with me, that's cool too. But most of all, thank you for hanging out and listening and being one of the many imaginary friends that I have, and real friends as well. But until next time, I will see you later. Take care of yourselves and look forward to hearing from you next week.